getting into prepping, shelter. As part of our discussion, I did refer to a shelter in our rule of threes. In shelter, you need shelter to protect yourself from either the sun or extreme cold within 3 hours. If you're in an environment where it is extreme. For that purpose, we are going to look at shelter as a priority, and I'm going to give you some examples of shelter that we can use in a emergency situation. First of all, we're going to start off with your normal, you can almost call it your EDC preparation as far as shelter is concerned. That is going to be your clothing. Then I'm going to refer to the emergency cover, stuff that you can use or that you should have available to be able to create shelter. Then I'm going to look at the sleeping system for shelter, and then some other loose items for shelter. So first of all, I'm going to start off with clothing. As far as clothing is concerned in my shelter system, I normally start off by wearing a long sleeve shirt for protection from the sun, but also to generate some heat in the case of having to actually generate heat. And then I also have in my survival bag, I've got the Humble t-shirt. The t-shirt can be worn under your long sleeve shirt. It can actually protect you a little bit more. It can give you more heat if you need to have some heat available. And it can also be utilized as a standalone top that you can wear. The second item that I've got here is my good old trusty cargo pants. For this instance, I've got the military multicam issue with some nice pockets on the side. We can put some extra stuff as well. Long sleeve or a long shirt, long trousers for protection when you have to move through thicket, and also protection from the sun, and then also being able to get some protection for heat as well. Trusty old long johns. I've been having these ones for quite a while. Whenever winter time comes around, I wear them underneath my long pants just to generate some extra heat. Then I've also got the good old trusty jersey. This one is just a military old South African Defence Force military jersey that I also just wear. Just wool contains heat quite nice. Even in a wet condition, it can still warm you up. Then I've also got, that's part of my normal EDC, which I actually wore last week, Monday and Tuesday when that cold front came through. It's just a normal jacket. With this one, it's also got some extra storage space at the back. Also part of my system is a pair of gloves that I wear just to warm the hands, and a beanie to generate the heat and to keep the heat from escaping through your head, because that is where you lose most of your heat. Having referred to some gloves is not only for heating, it can also have other purposes. In this case, coverage or this part of the protection system, I've got a pair of tactical short finger gloves that I normally also have in my bag that I use for different applications, being in the security industry. Then I've also got some protection as far as my leather workman gloves is concerned, just to make sure that I do cover my hands to protect them from, in an emergency, I can use it as a warmer gloves, but I also just use it as works gloves, just to protect my hands from getting injured or damaged or whatever the case might be. Then part of my system, I've also got this Shemagh. The Shemagh is a very nice item that I actually fell in love with quite a few years ago. I've got quite a few of these Shemaghs that I use. It's just to put around your head to protect you from the sun in circumstances where you might not have a hat available, but also to put around your neck to cool you down. If you wet it and you put it around your neck, it actually cools you down quite a bit. And then also just to protect you from the elements, you can use it as a covering. This one is about 1 meter by 1 meter, made of cotton, and it can be utilized quite nicely. In later videos, I will go into the proper, or the use of that, not the proper use of that, just the use of that. Something that I also have available in my kit is a bug net for cover to protect yourself from mosquitoes and flies and all other kind of things that irritate you. Doesn't work for a wife, but yeah, at least you can protect yourself from the insects. So this is what I also use. You just put it over your head and it will keep the bugs out of your face. Then we go over to the cover or the hat. I prefer having a bush hat with a brim, but not a too wide a brim, just to protect your ears as well when you are in the field. And then I'm also a big fan of caps. Got quite a few caps as well. That is just a day-to-day use. And then if I do go into the sun more intensely, and then I will just switch to a bush hat, or in this case this boonie hat, to protect myself. In an emergency situation, I've already mentioned my trusty old full black, my space blanket, with the emergency blanket. This one is 2 meters by 1.1 meters. It is just a cellophane type of material that you've got available, and you can use that as a makeshift short-term shelter. It can be used as a like I said, a shelter. You can use it as a poncho, and just as a blanket as such, just to get some warmth out of that. Then also we have referred to this one, I've referred to this as well before, the emergency poncho, just a thin plastic sheet that you got with a little bit of a hoodie that you can utilize in the event of you being trapped in a situation where you do not have a proper poncho available. You can use this emergency poncho. It's very thin. You can use it more than once, but it's normally just after one use they are gone. Then an interesting one as well. These are normal plastic garbage bags. I've got 3 sheets of plastic bags here. What you can use them for is you can actually use them as a shelter, because they are perforated, but they're still fixed. I can actually use quite a bit of real estate on that, where I can just use it as a shelter. I can also take one and just cutting out a neck and arms, space for the neck and the arms. I can use it as an emergency poncho as well, and I can also use it as a ground sheet or a ground cover, just like this. Or what you also can do in emergency situation and you want to sleep a little bit more comfortable, you can actually then just put some leaves and stuff like that in here, maybe even a jacket or two, just to pad it a little bit to get yourself a little bit of comfort going there. So that's just normal garbage bags. Mine is color coded as well. I do like my khaki colors, so this is just something that I bought from a Chinese shop just for myself. You can use the normal black bags as well. Then I've also got a drop sheet that can be used as an emergency shelter. Once again, you can use it for the applications the same as the emergency blanket. This one is a 2 meter by 3 meter, so it gives you quite a bit of coverage, and you can utilize this to make especially if you're in a situation where you need a shelter that is watertight, this will definitely work for that. I've also got an emergency poncho that it's a little bit of a thicker material. I bought it at the military surplus store. This one is actually quite strong. It's also got some decent usage as well. Once again, the brown being the neutral color in nature, I do prefer that, but that is a personal choice. You can get any one that you like. Mine is just, I like the brown one. Right, then I've just got a emergency poncho here. It is just a poncho, just a green one. In this case, I was not able to get a brown one. But this is just a poncho that you can just throw over yourself. I will be showing you some uses of this in future as well. It is a nylon material, watertight, so it's quite versatile. You can use it for quite a couple of things as well. You can use it for a tent. You can use it by setting it upright. You can use it for a tent. You can use it as a tarp. You can use it for some roofing. between two trees. I will show you that as well in later videos. And then the good old top. This one is also just a 2.5 meter by 2.5 meter. It is also just a polystyrene. I can't remember what it's made of, but it's a polystyrene, quite a water resistant and watertight thing. You can use it for building an emergency shelter, and obviously other applications as well. You can use it as a cover, rain cover, that type of thing. But this being the one that I keep in my bag for emergencies, where I will use it as a shelter. 2.5 meter by 2.5 meters will give me more than enough space to make a proper shelter. It's got some grommets, so with some rope, 550 cord and some pegs, you can actually make quite a few interesting configurations with this, and I will be showing that as well a bit later. Then just to cover up some loose items. Right, moving over to the sleep system. In a sleep system, you always got the three principles three ideas that you look at. First of all, you need something to sleep in, you need something to sleep under, and you need something to sleep on. So I'm just going to explain my system that I've got going here. This is just a normal military sleeping bag. That is my sleeping in system. I sleep in this bag. It's quite home. It's fairly waterproof. So you can use that as your sleep in as far as that is concerned. It's a good quality sleeping bag. I've been using this since 1987 when it was issued to me at the military. So I've used it quite a bit, and it is still going strong. So that is my sleep in, the sleeping bag. The sleeping under would be just once again referring back to our top. Just by setting up the top, I will show you later on how we're going to do that, but just by using the top as a shelter, you can actually get some cover, so you can sleep under that. And then to sleep on, I've got a ground sheet that I use for that. So the ground sheet, you just throw it on the ground, you sleep on that. It will protect you from the bottom, from damp and stuff like that, just to make sure that you are better protected. You can also, like we referred to previously to the dirt or the garbage bags, you can use that, filling it with leaves or grass or stuff like that, to build you some isolation as well. That also helps, but this is the trusty go-to system that I use. Then just an interesting or a deviation on that is I've just got in this bag, I've got my hammock system that I use. I've used this quite a few times in the military as well. You just string it up between two trees, and then you've got one very nice system that you can sleep in. Once again, putting the tarp over it, you are protected from the elements, you are protected from the ground. It's much more comfortable for me. I prefer actually sleeping in this to sleeping on the ground. But it's not always possible to get a proper sleeping system going where you've got two trees that is closely available to sleep in. It folds up quite easily, as you can see. Just stuff it in the bag, and you are good to go. So I will be showing this as well in a later video. And then obviously just a good old-fashioned fleece blanket in this case, but you can also use any other type of blanket as your sleeping system. This one, the reason why I'm using this fleece blanket, it is warm, but it's not that heavy, and I can easily pack it up in my bag as well. So it's just my preference and personal choice, but you can use your wool blanket as well. But the wool blanket will give you better isolation. If this thing is wet, it's going to be cold. With the wool blanket, it still retains some of its features of actually keeping you warm. So yeah, that's that. So lastly, I'm just going to run through some additional things that you can look out for that can be used as cover. First of all, it's just this normal two-piece rain suit that I've got. Never used it, never a big fan of it, but it is available and it is an option for those who want to use it. Actually provides you quite a bit of warmth as well, with it being wind resistant, but like I said, that's not my personal choice. I would rather wear nothing than to wear this, especially if you're on the bike as well. I've tried using this on the bike. After a short while, there's more water inside, according to me, with the sweat than it's actually outside. So yeah, that's just my choice, but that's just a normal two-piece rain suit that you can use for an emergency situation as well. But like I said, that's your choice. Then other options that you can use for cover or shelter is your just a normal tent. This is just a two-man tent. Used it quite a bit over the last couple of years as well. That is one of the things that is available. But my personal choice, once again, seeing that I am rather going to use if I have a choice, my hammock first. Otherwise, I'll just use a tarp and to make a basic tent or a basic shelter, either a lean-to shelter or a A-frame shelter. I would rather use that than having a tent, because the tent is a little bit heavier. It's a little bit less compact, and it's not that easy to pack all the time if you've got to be on your feet. So I prefer the other systems to this one, but that is something that is available. Then just to round up this as far as shelter is concerned, you can use any structure that is available. Any structure that you see out in the field that you can utilize, empty building or even empty room or something like that, you can utilize that as shelter. But that does pose a bit of a risk as well, so you just need to be aware of the potential risk, and you have to mitigate that risk. And then the last one that I quickly want to discuss, especially when you come to the bugging in part, is your home. Your home is always your castle. That is where you've got your stuff. So my preferred shelter will always be my home. After that, I will use anything and everything that is available to me. So that is just a basic discussion on shelter, the different types of shelter that you can use and that you can have available, transfer or shelter that you can carry with you, and then also just shelter in general, anything that you can use as a shelter, whether it be like the street people use, a card box that you sleep under or something like that. That is also part of shelter, so that is also available to us. Then like I said, this is just an introduction to the shelters. We will be demonstrating, myself and my wife will be demonstrating you some of the shelters that we can do and can build with what we've got. That would also be interesting, but that will be coming in the future. So I hope that you did enjoy this video. I hope that you enjoy spending time with me, and I hope that you did learn something from this. So until we meet in the next video, which I'm actually looking forward to making, because that would be the fire video. That's always a fun thing to do. Fire being one of my go-to things that I like, and fire also being part of the shelter system. Having fire available can actually get you a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more heat, and a little bit more protection as far as security is also concerned. So fire is the next one that I'll be looking at. And until then, looking forward to seeing you in the next video, and keep on prepping.